clean and burn.
Only messing with you.
Oh, good to see you. Yeah. It is kind of you to come along. I mean, you come along every week.
Well, yeah, it's a good show. It's a good atmosphere, and I didn't have anything to do, and I did come down to represent
all the lads,
people today.
Very seriously. I mean, you did the 2 numbers for us on your own. Did you start off on your own, or all the time were you part of a band?
No, I did. When I was 12 years old, well, in fact, when I was 10, I got given a guitar for Christmas, like, you know, a lot of young kids do, I suppose. And I just wanted to play the guitar, and I got this guitar when I was 10, tuned it up best I knew how. I didn't know how to tune it, but I tuned it into something which I could hear was sort of right. And I always remember the first song I ever played on the guitar was Mary's Boy Child. Do you remember that? Well, I was born in Bethlehem, it's not holy, but yeah. And it was at Christmas, so it was very apt.
Yeah, it was the first song that was written about me, actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, it made a few people weep.
That was the first thing you learned?
Yeah. And I went on from there, and at 12 years old, I was sort of playing around the clubs at weekends. My dad was driving me around these working men's clubs. And they used to earn a sort of a $5 over the weekend, you know, which in those days, I mean, it's a long while ago. And it was quite a lot of money, you know, and it was great. My dad used to take it all, mind you,
yeah.
You know.
And then after the war, you formed Quo. Now, who actually formed Quo?
Alan and Francis met at Sedghill School in Beckenham on the rugby field and formed it. And, well, cutting a very long story short, then John Colin joined, and Roy Lyons. Then I joined in 1967.
How did you join?
Well, I, in fact, was with another group called... well, I won't tell you what they were called, because it's such a silly name.
Go on, tell us.
No, I won't, no.
We want to know what they were called, don't we?
Well, we were called the Jerks, actually. So, I left the Jerks and...
You stopped jerks, yeah, right,
yeah,
yes,
I stopped jerking.
Yeah.
And in the time when I was with the Jerks, we... I met Quo. We were all doing a summer season. Yeah, I was in the I'm ridiculous. I was in the Gaiety Theatre with the Jerks. And Quo, who were the Spectres then, were over the Rock Ballroom, right? So every night after finishing with the Jerks, I used to go over and
see the Spectres.
And see the Spectres. And we built up a great friendship. And soon after that season ended at Butlins in Minehead, I sort of kept in touch with Alan, the bass player, with Quo. We became quite good friends. And I finished with my band and I was doing nothing. In fact, I became a baker. I was a baker for a while. And I had this baker's round, you know. I used to go around delivering baker, you know.
Really?
I was doing that for a while, yeah. Really enjoyed that.
When you joined the band, was it Quo then, or was it...
Originally, it came out of a shoe. It's absolutely true. Like these Italian shoes, beautiful Italian shoes called Quo Vadis. And our manager at the time was a plumber. Smashing bloke, though. And... he saw Quo Vadis in a shoe and said, you should call yourself Quo Vadis, you know. So we shuffled it around a bit and it eventually became Status Quo, then came Matchstick Men, and away we went.
Most bands last about 10 years, at the best, and then sort of fold up or really change into and like diverse and digress into different things. Quo somehow were one of the only bands, along with, I would say, perhaps The Who, who managed just to ride all the storms, because you had a few storms in Quo, didn't you?
Well, you see, the thing about Quo, we've never given way to conformity. We've never, like, whatever trend is in, you know, we've never sort of tried to go towards that trend, like whether it be, you know, disco or punk music, whatever, you know. I've always seen Quo as this huge sort of steam train, and it just rips its way... Right?
Yeah, so it speeds at lunchtime, yeah.
Just rips its way right through the middle of all this somehow, you know, and there's no sort of dictation in the band either, you know. Nobody's like, well, we must do this and we're gonna do this, you know. It's 100% effort from everyone in the band, and we all pitch in our ideas, we all write the songs, and it works quite well, you know.
What about stuff on your own? Because now, like, you've done the programme for us, you've got your own studio, you know, out in Surrey you're working. Have you ambitions to do solo projects at all?
Oh, yeah, I think everybody has, really. I mean, you were with bands yourself, you know, and there comes a time, I think, in everybody's career when you've got to think to yourself, well, OK, it's great leaning on the big, powerful shoulder of Quo, but what can I actually do individually, myself, you know? So I've started writing some stuff and, you know, doing some bits and pieces, and the beauty of it is I've got my studio there, so I can take my time and, you know, I'm not hustled money hustles about how much the studio's costing, and I can get into my own stuff and do it properly. But there's no great rush, you know. There's still an awful lot to be done with Quo yet. I mean, we've still got targets to go for yet, and which we're still going to go for, you know.
Yeah. Well, Quo and yourself giving a lot of people a lot of enjoyment. Are you happy?
Yeah. What, with the band?
Yeah, and with everything.
Oh, yeah, very much so, yeah.
Great. Well, I hope it continues. And come back again on the next series.
Well,
it's been a pleasure having you along.
Please subscribe and see some of the silly things I get up to, and the musical stuff as well.